Hello out there, welcome back to the video series. This is part 2 of a 3 video series called How to Find Work You Love That Loves You Back. I'm Evelyn and I am the career adventurist. I work with senior executives on how to design the life and career that they love. I do this through personal branding work, through leadership work, and also just that inner inquiry so that you can create your own personal vision, mission, and value statement and then translate that into your life and your work. In case you didn't see the first video in this series, I would really welcome you to pause this video and go back to that video to watch it because we will be building on the things that I talked about in that video today. If you need a link for that video, I'm going to post it down below if you're watching this on YouTube in the description box, or I will put it up top in the text if you're watching this on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram. So let's get started. So last week I talked about the top 2 human needs and I asked some of you to do the exercises and to put your top 2 needs in the comments box, and some of you did that, and thank you very much for doing that. For the rest of you who did the exercises, who did the exercise but didn't put the comments in, still have that at the back of your mind as you're watching this video. And for those of you who didn't do the exercise, please go and do it. It's really so valuable because knowing what our top 2 needs are really shows us how we've come to where we are today, what has driven us, and if we're not thinking about it any further, it will continue to drive us in the future as well. So if you're not satisfied with where you are today, you are going to get more of the same results if you don't pay attention to what your top 2 needs are, and if you need to shift what those top 2 needs need to be in order for you to get to where you want to go. Okay, so today, on the other hand, we're going to be talking about your top 3 values. Now, because I'm talking about finding work that you love, that loves you back, let's just focus on this in terms of your professional life, right? What is it about the kind of work that you do that's going to give you energy, that is going to fill you up and it's going to add value not just to yourself but to the people around you and to the world? Something that the world needs and wants, and something that the world will pay for. And basically, whether it's a job or it's a business that you've started or it's a business that you're going to start, or even if you're just a solopreneur, you know, what are these 3 values that are so essential to you as an individual? Now, why am I only saying 3 values? Now, obviously, we have more than 3 values. Our whole life is driven by our beliefs and our values. But the beauty in this exercise of drilling it down to just 3 values is that, you know, if we focus on everything that we wanted to do without a particular focus, we're probably going to wear ourselves pretty thin. So my invitation to you is if you can focus on your top 3 values, that gives you a stronger focus, and it's something then you can really work on. And when you've done with those 3 values, you can move on to the others. But just for this exercise and for this video, we're going to look at the top 3. Now, I have to just share, you know, I didn't do this exercise at the start of my career. Now, some of you would have seen my blog, for example, but I read my blog about how I had a meandering career. I started off as a lawyer, I went into so many different things. It was only in the last 5 years when I started sitting down and looking at my needs, looking at my values and what was really driving me and giving me passion and energy, that my career started to really take shape. And not just take shape, but also fill me up. I had a fantastic career before that, you know, in terms of achievements, in terms of money, in terms of my network, fantastic, but it wasn't filling me up. So I would like you to avoid having to do this for such a long time before you actually get to the point where you really feel filled up. Now, I'm going to put another exercise in the comments box below, and that's the values exercise. It's quite a simple one. It will take you 15-20 minutes. For some of you who really haven't thought about this before, it might take you longer, but it's so worthwhile. It's a really worthwhile exercise for you to just quiet down, settle your mind, and really think about what's super important to you, right? So what you will do at the end of the exercise is you will have 5 core values. And I want you to write each of those 5 core values on a post-it note or a piece of paper, 1 on each piece of paper. And then I'm going to ask you to be extra brutal with your core values and throw 2 away. So out of the 5 that you've come up with, I want you to only pick 3. Now, so some of you are going to find this really hard. because a lot of things are important to you. But still, do the exercise, it's really worthwhile. So as you finish this, and if you're looking at the 3 core values, now you really have to think about them. Why are these so important to you? Why are these the 3 that you decided to keep? Now these are the core values of your life and your career staring you in the face. Okay, so when you have the 3, this is the next step. I want you to think and maybe write down, if you're the kind who likes to write and journal, how often in your life, in your work life, have you actually applied and met these 3 values? What is it about your work that meets these 3 values? Or what is it about your work that doesn't meet these 3 values? And are you just working for other reasons, more practical reasons perhaps? Because if you can get really, really clear about how much you're actually investing into your values, that will really set a tone for your career. Okay? So again, I'm speaking to people, like you, who've been working 10, 15, 20 or more years. So you've got a really successful career already. So it's just a pause, just to take a pause in the middle of your current success and say, okay, is this how I want to continue with my career? Or, maybe my values aren't being met, because a lot of the people that I work with, they're in their late 30s to mid 40s, and they've achieved so much success, but they actually stop and they think, okay, I don't actually feel fulfilled. I don't feel like I'm making an impact. I don't feel like my work means a lot to me other than it putting food on the table for my family. So if you want to find work that you love, that loves you back, now this is a super important exercise, okay? So I would like you to then, once you've thought about, how often do you actually have these values in your daily career life, I would like you to put down on a separate piece of paper what your top 2 needs are from the last video, which is why I'm saying you have to go and watch that video, and the top 3 values from today. Okay, now I would like you to rate each one on a scale of 10, and that scale is basically how much these needs and values are met in your work life. Okay, so 1 means no, hardly even see it. 10 means absolutely fulfilled, absolutely hit it on the spot. Right, I really get my needs met, I get my values met in my work. Okay, so out of the 5, as a total, you will get a total of 50, and I want you to add up your total now. So if you had 25 or less, which means you're basically at the halfway mark, my guess is that your work is okay, you might be comfortable, but it may not be loving you back, right? So what's missing? What's missing in your work that's going to actually fill you up? And how can you carve the time out for yourself to get these needs and values met? And it could be met through work, it could be met through activities in your office, in your workplace. It could be also carving out time for you to do things outside of work, okay? And I know a lot of you listening to me out there, watching this, you don't have time. You don't have a lot of time to take out for yourself. And that is my invitation to you, is that you do that, because it's so super important. Because, if you can get filled up by this, it makes your life so much more meaningful. So let me give you an example of my story. So a few years back, many years back now, almost 9 years ago, I started working in American Express. And I loved that job. I absolutely loved it. And why I loved it so much was because I was in a team that was new to Asia. We were a brand new business unit. We went from basically 2 people to a team of about 11, and we were making $120 million portfolio by year 2. We were signing up new bank partnerships, we were working with high net worth individuals, and it was an exciting time. It was basically like building a business within a business, or what they call corporate entrepreneurship or intrapreneurship. And so the growth was always, 200-300% per year. It was super exciting. And my top 2 needs are growth and significance. So you can imagine how much excitement and how much love I was pouring into this job. Of course, there were tough times. The job wasn't easy. Of course, we were starting new ground. We had to deal with regulatory issues. We had customer service issues and challenges. We had to set up a new customer service team because the team in the UK, with the time zone and different other cultural issues, it wasn't working out for the customers here. So we had to set up everything from scratch, find new language speakers for Asia and things like that. But we were also getting a lot of recognition from headquarters in London, so growth and significance were definitely met there. But in the third year of business, there was a regulatory change. So during this time, work basically slowed to almost a halt because we couldn't do anything actively, and so I wasn't getting my needs met. Back at the time, I wasn't even thinking about my values, right? So I was only thinking about my needs. In fact, I wasn't even thinking about my needs. They were just intrinsically driving me. So I started looking for my needs elsewhere. And that's when I started doing my EMBA, my Executive MBA at INSEAD in Tsinghua, because that was going to give me a lot of growth. I was learning a lot of new things. I was meeting different people from different industries and backgrounds and cultures. So the growth and the learning was amazing. It really in fact, I think it probably met all my top 6 needs. All my 6 needs. And when something fills all your 6 needs, it becomes an obsession. And so it really helped to fill what was missing for me there. And it also helped to launch my transition into coaching because coaching was part of that program. And I began to see opportunities to become a coach. And it was only at that point that I discovered, okay, I actually need to know what my values are apart from my intrinsic needs. And so that's when I came up with my 3 Fs. Now, if you've read anything that I've written before, you will know my 3 Fs are fun, flexibility, and fulfillment. So any work that I do has to meet these 3 Fs because that is what drives me, that is also what fills me up. Anything that's fun, anything that gives other people fun, anything that allows me flexibility to live, work wherever I want to, and also the fulfillment of impacting someone's life, impacting someone's business. And those, those were my 3 values that I discovered only after a trial and error process of 15 years. So I don't want you to have to do this over a 15-year period, right? I would like you to be able to now discover what your values are, what your needs are, how you need to adjust your life and your work in order for you to fulfill that, especially if you're mid-career, right? Don't wait too long to do this, don't wait 15 years like I did. So please do the exercise below, which is the 3 top core values exercise, and put your core values and your top 2 needs in the comments below. Please, I would love to hear from you. And I would love to hear from you as well in terms of how do you think you're doing on the 5 category, the 5 things that we talked about, 2 needs and 3 values. And what in your life and career can you do to fulfill more of that? What can you do today? Who do you need to speak to? What questions do you need to ask yourself or ask people? Because that's going to start the exploration, right? That's going to start the discovery process, and it's such an exciting and fun discovery process. And I'm so excited for you if you decide to go on this journey. This is again just the tip of the iceberg. I will do this in more depth in my online programs, and if you decide to, if you're interested in finding out more about that, I'm happy to chat. I'll put my contact details in the description box below. However, this is not the end of the series. There's part 3 coming up next week, and I hope you look out for that. And over and out. See you next week.